to my knitting podcast. My name is Monika and this is episode 19. I'm gonna start with what I'm wearing. This is my own design, though it's not released yet. This is my cable knit sweater. I knit it up in Lykkegarn. I think it's just called Merino, in the colorway Mars. Yeah. Today I have a few things to show, and at the end I'll have a small yarn haul. You might be able to see what's different about my shelving if you've been here before, but we'll do that a bit later. First I'm gonna show my one finished object. Here I have my sister-in-law's finished pair of Under the Oak socks. I am very, very pleased. I was last time I was almost done. Okay, here's the best lighting. I was almost done with both of them. I think I had this much left. Just because I didn't have time to finish them before filming last week. And I actually just finished them right after filming last week's video. And I forgot to take a picture of these before they were done for the thumbnail. So in the thumbnail it's a finished pair, even though in the video it was not. So they're done, they're blocked, they're really pretty and all of that. And I'm very, very, very happy. The yarn is Dali yarn, Alpakka Forte, in the colorway Deep Red and Brown. I do not know the color numbers, but they're I won't say it's a too limited amount of colors, but if you find a color that you think would have been called deep red, that's the one. And I think there's only one brown, at least one in this type of brown. Maybe, yeah, there. In this video the coloring still looks a bit off. The brown looks a bit too green and the red looks a bit too orange. I just don't know how to fix that, sadly. But yeah, I can't wait to meet my sister-in-law and give her this, though I do not know when I will see her next time. It might actually end up being on my birthday, so she might get these as a gift then. So yeah, this is my only finished object for this week. I have one that's almost finished and that I thought was finished, which annoys me a bit because I was planning on wearing it today. But my purple sweater is done, except for the fact that I knit the collar a bit too tight. The bind off is too tight. The collar in itself I think is more than stretchy enough. It's just the bind off. But since I used up every scrap bit of yarn I had for this project, I actually have to undo the bind off, think back at least half a round, probably just gonna do a whole round, and then bind off again and doing it more stretchy because I couldn't get it over my head. I tried so hard, I couldn't do it. The rest of the bind offs are fine. They are tight, but I could slip them over my hand without issue at all. The bind off at the hem is actually also a tiny bit too tight. I noticed when I pulled it over my body, but I could get them over my shoulders, so that wasn't the biggest problem. But I had no chance of getting this over my head at all. So that's too bad, because this is it's gonna be a really lovely sweater when it's done. I just couldn't do it. The yarn is Double Sunday. That's a Sandnes Garn yarn in the colorway Lilac. And one of the things I changed with the body, because this was a finished object last year, but I realized I didn't use it as much as I wanted to. And the reason was I had done contrast color for the cuff, the hem, and the collar, which was in blue turquoise, also in Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. But when I washed this, the color of the lilac faded a lot more than the blue, so it was very vivid blue turquoise with muted lilac, and it didn't go quite together. So I decided to rip out the blue and just do the lilac. Yeah, so I had to rip out the collar and reknit it, which I did. And I reknit the sleeves and also the hem, because the hem was also blue. But when I ripped out the hem, I did more than just rip out the hem. I took it back all the way to under the arm, because I decided, since I had to do some waist shaping to get more yarn for the rest of the sweater, I decided to incorporate the raglan increases. They continue down and meet under the arm. That was not new, it did that before, but the continuation down, why must you be so difficult to show? The continuation down the body, that is new. So they're still meeting in a point, but then they kind of continue along the side. And I can see that where I started knitting again with the leftover yarn, it's the tension is a tiny bit different. But I don't mind, because you can't see it in real life, though it does pick up quite well on camera, sadly. Why must the imperfections be so easily shown, I guess? Yeah. I'm having a hard time showing this on camera. Okay, come on. Keep it together. There you go. Yeah, it is not at all easy to show. I mean, it's gonna be under the arm, so it's not like it's gonna show very well, but you will see it if I lift my arms. Now, this is how I should have shown it all along, apparently. So yeah. But I really do like this detail. Yeah. There's not a lot more to say about this project. It's been a work in progress for quite a while. But yeah. I have technically already declared it done, because I was blocking it and everything, and that's when I call it done. But redoing this bind off not gonna take very long at all. I think I'm just gonna do it right after this filming is done. I'm filming late at night again, so I'm both talking way too fast and also I'm way too tired, so I'm stumbling a bit with my words. I'm sorry, that's just the episode you get. But yeah, that's all about this project. Hopefully next week I'll be wearing it. Yeah, in my notes I'm already declaring it done, because that's such a minor fix. Even though I've done it like 3 times now, I am getting a bit done with the project. I just want it done. But it's my own fault for binding off too tight. I keep forgetting that standard bind off is a lot tighter than other bind-offs, and that's my own fault. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do the sock project before I do the last project. I have actually gotten quite far, I must say. I stopped doing them in tandem and just do them one at a time. I usually start my socks on magic loop just to get them going. Also because I don't enjoy doing the cuffs for some reason. Or I didn't used to enjoy doing the cuffs. Now I don't know. So this is how far I gotten on the one that's still on the magic loop, the long needles. As you can see here, this is the very few rounds I did on this sock since last time, because I no longer prefer doing magic loop. At least not with these needles. I find they're not sharp enough, and I now prefer really sharp needles. I didn't know I preferred that because all my needles were not sharp, but now that I know how much easier I find it with sharp needles, I no longer enjoy this. So since I knew from the under the oak socks that I've made, that's my own pattern, by the way, under the oak socks. Yeah, they'll be linked in the description if anyone's interested. But yeah, I knew from doing the under the oak socks that I like doing socks in the round, but I'm not a big fan of DPNs. And with the under the oak socks, I actually had a pair of shorty needles, an interchangeable set, so I could use the 3mm needles from the interchangeable sets to knit those in the round, and I really enjoyed that. So I ordered myself a few pairs of needles that are also short, but they are fixed because they don't make interchangeable needles that small. So yeah, these are actually Sjøgrønn needles, I think that's how you say it. These one are 23 centimeters, which I think are 16 inches or something. No, probably shorter. 12? I don't know. I'm sorry. But it's a 23 centimeter length. And they're in the size 2mm. And I have really been enjoying knitting them in the round. Though I do still pull out my DPNs to do the heel. I can do the heel on magic loop, but I don't enjoy it. So I do the DPNs. The heel is the least enjoyable part in my opinion. But if you want a pair of socks, you gotta do the heel. That's just how it is. But I do enjoy the slip stitch heel that I have been doing, so I'm very happy with that. But yeah, this is just vanilla socks. There's very little to say about the pattern I'm knitting. There are just some rounds, arbitrary amount of rounds of ribbing for the cuffs. I don't even know how many I did, probably 15. Then I just knit some rounds of stockinette until I think it's long enough, and I try to make it an even number, or preferably divisible by 5 or 10, so it's easier to count later. And then I just do a slip stitch heel turn, and now I'm working on a gusset. So yeah. The yarn is Anita Strikketante, and the yarn color is 172. It doesn't have any names, only numbers, and I'm not 100% certain that's the correct number, but it will there will be an information box here when I start talking about the projects. So yeah, I don't think I have a lot more to say about this. I have gotten quite far, I must say. I usually don't knit socks very fast, and it might be because I used to have very many projects at a time, and every project was kind of working a bit slowly, to be honest. And now, since I have a limited number of projects, I think things goes a lot faster, in my opinion. The purple sweater, the lilac one, last time I think I was halfway through the second sleeve, so I had not picked up the body. I think I had done the collar, though I should have tried it on, but I didn't. That was stupid of me. We'll learn from that. Always try it on before you block it, just in case something like that happens, because not everything blocks out. But yeah. So, those are the socks, which, to be honest, is the least exciting thing I'm showing this week, unless you really do like sock knitting. I don't judge you if you do. I don't think talking about socks is the most interesting. Also, I don't know why, but the yarn, the ball, it started like trying to get undone from the underside, and I don't know why. It hasn't happened before. I'm trying very hard to keep it kicked up. I'm knitting from both ends at the same time, because I started on magic loop. I think for the future I will knit them one at a time, because I find it very annoying to knit from the outside and the inside of a yarn ball at the same time, and I do not want to split the yarn, because I prefer to knit socks without any ends weave in other than the start and the end. I say that, and I have striped socks where you have to like weave in all the ends, but those are thicker socks made for like having around the house, not to have inside your shoes. Though I use mine inside the shoes too, so yeah. What do I know? Apparently. But yeah. I'm gonna talk about my last whip that I've actually worked on. I have 2 whips that I will bring out next time. Mostly just because I have gotten so far with so many of my whips at the moment that I kind of want to change things around a bit. I have 2 projects that I've been hibernating. Those are the ones that I'm bringing out next time to evaluate whether or not, 1, am I gonna finish them, and 2, in what order. Because I also have quite a few plans and not enough time. I think every knitter knows that. We have so many plans, so much yarn, not enough time. It's just not enough hours in the day, I guess. But yeah, let's move on. I just have to bend down and get this project out of the knitting baskets so I can properly show it, because now, for once, at least I feel like that, I have a lot to show. It's still unblocked, so it is kind of in a wonky... Yeah, there you go. Now you can see the entire thing. It's in a kind of a wonky state. These are the shoulder seams, but that's not where the shoulders will be lying. So I will try and see if I can hold it up in a way that you can actually see it. Maybe, yeah. This is my texture sweater. It's my own design. Don't have a name yet. Don't know when I will release it, but I do plan on releasing it. oh, and it is beautiful. Oh, the lighting got a bit weird there. Anyway, last time I hadn't connected it in the round yet. I was approximately here in the back because I moved the stitch marker from the middle and to the side just to mark something else. And then here in the front, this is the other stitch marker. And to be honest, I am surprised I got this much knitting done, because this has been my on-the-go project, which might sound a bit weird. This is how much I've gotten under the arms. Yeah. I'll tell you more about it later, but this weekend was crazy, so the fact that I've actually managed to not only connect it in a round, but even get quite far into the second... Okay, come on, where do you go? There. The second diagram, I guess? That's quite impressive in my eyes. I did a lot of calculating and math in general, and decided that I was going to trust my gauge, because my gauge here at the top is the same as it says on the label and this label. And usually my gauge matches the gauge on the labels, at least for Sandnes Garn. This is Sandnes Garn Smart. And I also used the recommended needles, I think. I'm pretty certain, yes. Yes. So I got the fabric I wanted, I got the gauge I wanted. I don't think this will necessarily block out, but if it does, I will stretch it so I get more length instead of width. So I did end up adding quite a lot of more rows. So my armhole depth is bigger than I was planning, but I think that might be for the better, considering how I'm planning on doing the shaping of the arm. So yeah, I think I don't have a lot more to say about this project. If you've been there before, you've seen it a lot. I really do enjoy knitting on this. Though at the moment I do enjoy the twisted rib part more than the diamond pattern, mostly because the diamond pattern forces me to look at the knitting, while the twisted rib part doesn't. So it's been a bit faster when I've been knitting on this on the go on different occasions. I'll tell you more about that later, but every time I have to look down, it takes me more time, because it means I have to wait for a break in the thing I'm doing to actually look down. Especially if I'm talking to people. Sorry, my hair is all over the place today. As am I, apparently. But yeah. I did say this was my own pattern too, I think. Yeah, it is my own pattern. I'm gonna release it eventually. Don't know when. Probably not until the fall, because it's a very, in my opinion, fall pattern. Yeah. It is knit up in Sandnes Garn Smart in the colorway Sjøgrønn, which means sea green. And I must say, I don't think the color gets picked up on camera quite as well as I wanted to, but no colors ever do, so yeah. But that's the last of my projects that have actually gotten any love this week. So I'm gonna put it away, and then I'm gonna tell you all about this weekend, because that's a saga, to be honest. So yeah, give me a moment while I just put this back in the knitting baskets. And I'll have to remember to move all the stitch markers later on all of my projects. So yeah. Where to start? Yeah, I'll actually start with Thursday. Thursday was a normal working day. I got up in the morning and I could feel that I had a headache. And I was very, very glad that I had planned on staying home office the rest of the week, and also most of the week after, so this week. But the Thursday, I woke up with a headache, and it got progressively worse. So by lunchtime, I had to realize that this wasn't just gonna be a headache, it would probably become a migraine, and if I continue working now, it will definitely become a migraine, and I won't be able to do anything the rest of the day. So I told my boss that I had to go because I probably was going to get migraine. And I shut off my computer and everything. And the second I got up from a chair to go to bed, I heard the lock on my door turn. And it was my husband. And both of us just looked at each other, and he was like, I forgot you had home office. And I'm like, do you have a migraine too? And he's like, yeah. And we're both like, then it's not a migraine. It means we're probably going to get sick, both of us. Probably influenza or like flu or something. And terrible start to all the plans we had. So we both went to bed. And we just relaxed the rest of the day. My migraine medicine thankfully worked. So I was only very, very tired afterwards instead of actually having a migraine. Though I had all the symptoms of a migraine except for the pain. I had the aura and all of that. And the day after, both of us decided we were still feeling too bad to work. So I just got up in the morning, logged on to the computer, sent my boss a message saying I'm not working today, and then went straight back to bed. And when I woke up at like 2 in the afternoon, I felt good again. I was tired, but no longer ill. My husband, he has trouble sleeping during the day, so he still felt a bit under the weather. And I think we decided to order pizza. Or maybe we did that on Thursday. It's a bit of a blur. At least we did order pizza sometime last week, and it was probably Thursday or Friday. So yeah, I had a lot of commitments this weekend, which I couldn't get out of because it was volunteer work, and I knew when already on Thursday that they were getting a lot of people that had canceled because of illness. So I was thinking, if I feel good enough on Friday afternoon, I'm going to have to go and do the volunteer work on Saturday and Sunday. Just because it will be too short-staffed if not. And I'm pretty certain that I had a migraine even though my husband might have had the flu. Because I felt better a lot faster than he did. So yeah, either that or my migraine medicine also prevents the flu somehow. No idea. So on Saturday I woke up, I felt better than I did on Friday, obviously. But I was very, very, very tired. So I did tell the people that I wouldn't be there until my kind of shift started. My part of the volunteer part started. And since this was also through my choir, we also were planning on having 2 concerts on Saturday and 2 concerts on Sunday, connected with all of this volunteering. So since I did my volunteers thing from 3 until 5, because the concert was at 5. So I was at the concert at 5, and when I was there I was thinking, I have 2 choices. I can try to get back home before the second concert and all of that, but it will take me an hour either way, like both ways. So I'm gonna waste at least 90 minutes of my life, but more likely 2 hours, only to sit in the sofa at home. Or I could find myself a quiet corner here and do some knitting, because I did bring my knitting because I knew the type of volunteer work I was going to do meant I was gonna sit and wait for people to need help. So, and just sitting and like twiddling my thumbs is not something I'm very good at. So when people didn't need my help, I just knit. So the night went on, and at 9 we had the second concert, and it was exhausting, but I was very, very lucky. One of the women in my choir, turns out she lives quite close to where I live, and right now there's a specific road between where I live and where she lives, that's closed right up until 10 o'clock. But because she could then drive to me first, the road would be open right when she like let me go out of the car, let me off, I guess. And she was very happy because she would have to drive quite far around if she didn't drop me off first. So she actually had to drive a shorter distance by dropping me off first. So that was a win-win for everyone. But of course, since I now had done all the stuff I was supposed to do on Saturday, I couldn't say no to do the stuff I was supposed to do on Sunday, which was equally exhausting, a whole day. So I was home at 10, right around 10 on Saturday, and I had to shower and wash my hair to get ready for the next day, because I knew I had to get up really early, or not really early, but too early to make my hair dry early enough before I left. I know that if I leave the house with my hair wet, I will get a cold. That's just my experience. So I will always wash my hair in the evening so it will have enough time to dry. So at 10 o'clock I went and showered and washed my hair and had to wait for it to dry before I could go to bed. And then in the morning I actually woke up way too late and was really stressed because I only had 40 minutes to get out the door. I didn't specify for my husband how early I had to get up, so that's my fault, because he would have woken me up if he had known, but instead I slept straight through my alarm. Chaos. But yeah, I did. I was able to get on all the clothing I needed because we were going to be outside all day again, and it was raining. So I had to make sure I had enough change of clothing so I would always stay dry. So I was able to quickly pack a bag, put my rations, or call it whatever. My husband had bought me some chocolate that I could bring, which was very nice. I really needed it. And yeah, then I ran to the bus, which I had to run quite a lot further to get to the bus than I usually do. Because they had rerouted quite a lot of the traffic. So yeah, I got to the bus stop, I actually got the right bus, then I had to navigate through the city to figure out where we were supposed to meet up, because the location and time had changed, which was amazing. So yeah, we found the place, I met other people from the choir on the bus, so we were able to navigate together. And the concert in the morning went very well, and my grandma actually came to see us. So when we were done with the concert, it was, I think it was about 12 when we were done with the first concert. She asked if I wanted to eat lunch with her, so we did. And my plan originally was to go straight from the concert to a knitting market in between the concerts, I guess. But I was really exhausted, so when my grandma asked if I wanted to go home with her and have dinner there, I initially said yes. So after we had eaten together in the town, in the city center, we went to my grandma's, and we were there for a few hours. And then I was thinking, I will regret it if I don't go to the knitting market. I had a plan, I knew what I wanted. If I don't take a chance and see it through, I will regret it. So even though I had told a friend of mine earlier in the day that I couldn't go, I was too exhausted, I didn't have the energy, so she went without me. I decided to go anyway, and of course then she had already left, because that's just the timing of things. The knitting market was very, very nice. It was very beautiful, nicely set up. Everyone was super nice. And the cafe that was right next to the knitting market, they had really nice atmosphere and not the best lighting to knit in, but that wasn't the purpose when they made it, I guess. So yeah, I found myself a comfortable chair, and I sat there until I had to leave to go to the other concert, the fourth concert of the night. Yeah. And at that, when I left, it was raining very heavily, and it was very windy, so I was very glad I had brought all the extra clothing, even though I had so much to carry. But yeah, I got back to the city center, to the church where we were going to sing, and we had our sound check, and then we left to warm up and went back to the church, and our choir was the very last choir to sing, so I think we sang right before 11 o'clock at night. So I hadn't been home in like 14 hours or more, and I was very exhausted. So I did all I could to like run home afterwards. Or like, I took public transportation to get home, as I usually do. And I tried to fall into bed and just sleep, but I was so amped up with all the caffeine I had ingested all day just because I was so tired. So I had to sit in the living room for half an hour and just calm down while I was looking at knitting videos. And finally, when I can like feel my heart rate stabilizing a bit, I did go to bed, and I do think I fell asleep before 12, but I'm not 100% certain. And then I had to get up this morning to go to work, obviously. Though still home office, which I'm very, very glad I did, because I have very little voice left, and I think talking all day at work and doing this probably would have left me without any voice at all. So yeah. So now that I have told you about my crazy weekend and all of that, I can show you the yarn I actually bought. So yeah, I did do a little bit of a haul. I'm gonna do the things that makes that sound first. In my language, I call it knittring. I don't remember the English word. But yeah, I did buy some yarn from Untold Yarn. and I bought 2 packs of 10, which was at a heavy discount because they're stopping. These are outgoing colors. Yeah. So I did buy light merino in this lilac color, which I don't know how easy to see. My grandma bought this exact color last time we went to knitting market together, and I just been admiring her works so much because she got a lot out of those skeins. So I decided I just couldn't pass the opportunity. I had to buy the same color. So I only bought the light merino and not the mohair because they didn't have any more mohair left in this color. So I'm gonna probably knit a winter t-shirt in this wool, because I do have a lot of other untold yarn from, you might be able to see it here. Most of that is cotton merino, other than the green that's here, which is also light merino wool. And since I knew I had this one, when I saw that they had mohair left in that color, I decided to buy it because I've been talking about trying mohair for so long and I still haven't done it, and I really want to knit a specific pattern that I'm actually going to show you afterwards. So yeah, I bought the silk mohair that they have. It's 28% silk and 72% super kid mohair. So yeah, I'm looking forward to pairing that into this project. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera. But yeah, I'm planning on doing this. It's a it's called a Slanting Slipover. And I'm gonna take it out of this thing so you don't see the reflection as bad. I think the details are absolutely beautiful. It's not so easy to see on the camera, to be honest. This is a pattern that I got, focus, there you go. This is a pattern I got from my grandma. She tried doing the pattern, and first she had a lot of gauge issues, so she was frustrated because she couldn't get the gauge she wanted, but eventually she figured it out. And then she started knitting it, and I'm pretty certain my grandma, me, and mom all have dyslexia, and she just couldn't get the pattern to work for her. It's a very long pattern. This pattern, I think it has 7 pages. Yeah, 7 pages. And both of us, all 3 of us, are more used to very short, very concise patterns. So at some point it just became like a big mess of words for my grandma, and she was like, I'm not gonna figure it out, I don't want to knit it, do you want it? So it won't go to waste. So I said yes, I would like to try it. And it would be too bad to just have bought a pattern and never actually do anything with it. So yeah, though I'm gonna do a change, because this is a slipover. I do not wear slipovers. I think I'm gonna try and figure out how to add arms to it after I'm done with the actual slipover. I might do some changes to how the shaping is, because one of the pictures here is with someone wearing it. Yeah, here at the bottom, and you can see perhaps maybe that it's a very wide opening. It's like very wide because it's a slipover. So I do think I am gonna try and modify that part a tiny bit. But that's also the only thing I'm gonna try and modify. Yes, let me see. So yeah, that's the plan for the green yarn. This with mohair. I'm probably gonna have to probably hold both of them double to get the correct gauge, because I think it's 19 stitches. And the light merino will not give me that. Yeah, 19 stitches. And 26 rows. So yeah. Okay, that's the slanting slipover. I haven't followed the pattern in quite a while, so that's kind of fun actually. So yeah, that was the commercially dyed yarn that I bought. And I also bought some hand dyed. Let me see. Yeah, just some hand dyed. Last time I said that if they had more, if the yarn dyer that had this yarn had an extra skein, I would buy it, because I was afraid I would run out. Lille was at the event, the knitting market, yarn market, but she did not bring any of her thick merino, only thin merino. So what I did instead, I knew in my head what this color was. I knew it was very variegated and that you can see it's clearly both light and dark. And I thought if I could find a yarn close enough, because also she was out of this colorway, this is called Misty Mountain, and she was completely sold out of that. And she had no plans on dyeing any more of it. But I did find this, which I'm trying to hold so both of them are in the light. You can see they are very close in color. And yeah, this one, the new one, is not variegated. I'm gonna put this one back. This one is just tonal and very light tonal. It's very clearly almost the same color the entire way through. And this one is called North in the Woods, Nord i skogen. And since this is a thin merino, this is twice as long as the other skein. I was thinking I could hold it double if I needed it, and do the hem, the cuffs, and the collar. So I'm gonna save this one until I'm done with my second cable knit sweater, because that's what I'm knitting up in this one. You haven't seen it in a while, because I haven't touched it in a while, because I was so afraid I would run out, so I wouldn't... I mean, clearly I have more yarn at the moment. I have 3 skeins, but I was so afraid that the project would have to be frogged that I didn't want to touch it until I was certain I had a solution in my mind. So the solution is, if I do need it, I will use this for the cuffs and the collar, and maybe even the hem. So yeah, that's my solution if I do end up needing more yarn. The reason is, it's the same pattern as this one, but I'm knitting it in a size larger, because I wanted it more oversized. This one is very fitted, and it's very nice, but sometimes you want a cable knit sweater that's a bit more oversized, and that's what I wanted with the other one. And the other one, the one that I'm knitting now, also contains nylon, because this yarn, the thick merino, is also actually a sock yarn, and I do kind of regret not buying more thick merino to knit socks with, because it's very rare that you find sock yarn that's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon and has 225 meters per 100 grams. It's really thick compared to this, which I think is 420 meters per 100 grams. So yeah, clearly very different gauges and all of that. But yeah, I do think it's a good backup plan. Now, I did decide before I left for the yarn market that I was going to buy something from Untold, because if they had the green mohair I would want to try it, and I couldn't resist the lilac, so that was just, I knew I had to do that. But other than that, I knew that I would only buy sock yarn, and I went to probably like 5 or 6 different yarn dyers, and I saw that they did have sock yarn, but not reinforced with nylon. So they had like very rustic yarn that you can knit socks in, that's a slightly bit oversized, and as you wear them they get tiny bit felted and get like really fitted to your feet, which is nice, but it's not what I wanted. And I knew that if I let myself I'd buy the entire store, so that doesn't work. So yeah, I had decided beforehand if I was going to buy anything hand-dyed, it was going to be sock yarn. And I also wanted to like complement some of the colors I already have, because these are very much colors that I don't normally like. So I was like, I'm gonna go for colors that speak to me, and really try to buy yarn I like. So of course this one I couldn't resist it, because this was the green that fit with the rest. And I'm hoping I won't need to use so much of this, because I really would like a pair of green socks in this color. That would be amazing. This is a beautiful green color. So yeah, so that was one of them I bought. And I bought this very pretty blue. It's more navy in real life. It looks a bit too cold in this light, but yeah, really pretty color. And also, just because I did say I wanted some light colors, I did take this skein, which I assume is gonna end up either with like micro striping or proper striping. I'm not 100% certain. But it's gonna be a very fun color combination thing. It has yellow, green, pink, and tiny bit of like orangey red at the back, but most of it is white, or more like a cream, I guess. So yeah, there you go. Might be able to see. And I think this is gonna look very nice. It's called Tulipan, which is, God, I don't remember what that's called in English. It's Netherlands flower. Tulip, that's what it's called. Makes sense. So yeah, and it's very tulip colored, I think. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to making a pair of socks in this too. It's gonna look very nice. All of the sock yarn I bought at Lilac, because they were the only ones that had nylon reinforced sock yarn. So, and that was hand colored and hand dyed. There were some that had nylon enforced commercial yarn, but I had decided I wouldn't buy sock yarn I could buy other places. I wanted specifically hand dyed sock yarn reinforced with nylon. So yeah, so that was the yarn that I bought that didn't have any glitter in them, but I saw some of her glitter merino, I guess. They're called månestråle, which means moonshine, and I bought 3 of them. And this one is very dark and moody and glitters so beautifully. It's brown and blue and it's just gorgeous. I've seen this one before because I bought some yarn for a friend of mine last time because she couldn't go, and she had specifically said that she wanted this color. It's called Acorn Harvest. So I bought her a skein that was without the glitter in it. Actually, I think I bought her more than a skein. I bought the amount she wanted. And this time, when I saw that she had this colorway with the glitter, I just had to have it. I couldn't resist at all. It's just so beautiful. And the two other ones, the blue is kind of obvious. It's a blue-green-ish one. It's one of my favorite colors. So this one really spoke to me. And yeah, I love this color. I can't wait to have a pair of socks in it. And yeah, I did also decide that I wouldn't buy any sweater quantities of sock yarn because I would probably only end up using them for socks anyway. So yeah. And the very last one, I know I said I wasn't going to buy any more orange, but I don't consider this orange. This is, in my eyes, brown. Brown red. Like a copper color. And with the glitter, it's just so beautiful. And I love it. This is the type of orange that I can wear and that I actually look good in. Not the kind of pale pinkish orange kind of thing. Yeah, this is gonna be so fun. And also the leftovers, I can't wait to use them as like stripes or contrast heels or something like that, because that was the whole reason why I wanted more sock yarn. I felt like the amounts of sock yarn I had, they didn't go together any of the colors, and I wouldn't be able to pair them in ways that I wanted. While all of these are so different, but more closely related. Like, I can totally see using this as a contrast heel for this, or the other way around, even though these colors don't necessarily look like they go together. But also, how fun would it be to have like these socks with a contrast heel? Yeah. Also, these two, that would be very fun. Like the main color and just the cuffs. So yeah, I have so many ideas. Okay, I only have one more thing to talk about, and that's ever since I got my sister-in-law's socks done, I said so last time too, that I was going to reward myself by casting on a pair of under the oak socks for myself. So I actually did bring yarn to start it on Saturday, but one of the other people in my choir, she forgot to bring her own knitting, and she was sitting there very like, I need something to do with my hands. So I actually lent her my shorty needles. These are the ones that I knit my contrast, that I knit my socks with, the under the oak socks. And I gave her the two skeins that I had brought with me, which are not these two colors. I had brought a blue and a green skein. I do not have any more of the blue, but she did say she would either reimburse me for the yarns, or she would find the exact color at the store and buy the same skeins back, so she wouldn't feel guilty for like running away with my yarn. But as I tried to tell her, this specific yarn, I love it, I use it all the time, I have a bunch of it. It's not the end of the world if two skeins of this kind of left my stash without me doing anything about it. But yeah, since the blue and the green was kind of unavailable, I decided to find two different skeins and try to... I will eventually cast on a pair of under the oak socks for myself, but the weather is also turning, so I won't need as warm socks from now on. But I do still want to knit socks, obviously, since I bought so much so much sock yarn. Also, I forgot, I have actually something more to show you. I did also buy some stitch markers. And they are from Pearls and Knits. And I think they are quite adorable. I bought 3 that's the same, just different colors. Those are the very, very cute butterflies. And one of them is the same, almost the same, green color as this, but it's a bit difficult to see it in the packaging. Yeah, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. I also bought one that's a black bow, and one that's is a heart with rhinestones around it. The heart is it's like a crystal kind of thing. I don't know how easy it is to see. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But yeah, and the blue butterfly has glitter in it, the pink one does not, the green one doesn't either. But the colors on those two are just so beautiful. I couldn't resist at all. So yeah, can't wait to use them. So yeah, those are all the things I bought and all of my plans. I actually have one more plan, but I'm going to keep it secret for now, at least until I get the yarn for it. We have, my husband has a friend that lives in the States, and he has been through a tough time lately. A lot of people have. But he have had a lot of death in the family, and we really want to cheer him up. And he has been really, really, really wanted a hand knit sweater. And I have planned for quite a while to figure out which pattern to knit him, because I wanted to knit him something that will be very cozy, but also since I won't be able to make him try it on multiple times because we literally live on the other side of the world. Well, not literally, but there's an ocean between us. So, yeah. I wanted to knit according to pattern, so I knew that it would more than likely fit him as long as I knit the correct size. And I have asked him for his measurements, and he has finally gotten them to us. I think he used like 3 months to finally, like, even though we prompted him all the time, like, you have to take your measurements, you have to send them, come on. If you want a sweater, you gotta do it. He did finally send me his measurements, and I have been looking through both Ravelry and other sources to find the pattern. I did finally find the pattern, but I haven't bought the yarn. And the pattern happens to be a free pattern. That wasn't necessarily intentional, it was just that pattern really spoke to me, and I think he would really find it very cozy. It is a colorwork sweater. So it's going to be my second colorwork sweater that I ever gonna knit, and this one is, I won't say it's more complicated, but it's more in bold. So yeah. I don't remember the color name on the top of my head, and I'm not gonna go and look it up. Yeah, no. Oh, and then if you're looking at this is your warning. From now on, you cannot look at the podcast because you might see something that I want to be a surprise. Okay? Yes, good. So hopefully this week I will buy the yarn. And hopefully this week won't be as crazy as the last few weeks. Whew. How on earth will I ever have time to do anything if I continue to get so overbooked? Oh well. This weekend the only plans we have are the friend pair that was coming over for dinner for a few weeks back but had to cancel because of illness. And they are coming over on Saturday. We're gonna have a game night and dinner, and I probably will not knit for quite a few hours, but the rest of the time I'm supposed to be available, so hopefully I will still have a lot of knitting time. And the 2 projects that's been in hibernation, I will bring them out. I will have to do some decision making and also make some decisions about the Slanting Slipover and the sweater for our friend. So yeah, that's how it is. I think that's all I was gonna say. This continues to be a long podcast, regardless of how fast I try to get through everything. Oh well. I'm gonna bring out all my sweaters. I'm gonna do the one fix that needs to be fixed. And actually that means that when it comes to fixed February, I've checked off everything. That's amazing. I finished both pairs of socks that were lingering. I fixed this sweater, and it's now also blocked, which is amazing. And the purple one is technically done. I just have to redo one bind off, and I'm just gonna call it as done, which means that all the finishes and fixes I had to do this year, they're done. I think the only thing I might be missing are buttons from a white cardigan. But since I'm not gonna wear that cardigan until probably May, I still have some time to find buttons that I find more appropriate. The reason why I had to take off the previous buttons were because they were too heavy. So yeah. Also, I do still have a lot left over when it comes to yarn for that, from that project. You might have seen me redoing the shelving again. I think I do it almost between every time I film. And it's not necessarily intentional, it's more like I haven't quite figured out how to organize my yarn in such a way that when I do want to start a project or need more yarn for a project I'm already working on, I can easily take it out of the shelf without having to not knock stuff over. As you can see, this shelf is pure chaos because I have yarn in like 3 layers, and in the back here there's even more. So yeah, I have to figure out how to do this, and probably it means I have to go to IKEA, and that means I have to talk to someone who has a car so we can be driven home afterwards. There's just a lot of things I have to consider. I'm also planning on putting a shelf above me here, which might or might not be visible in the podcast, but right now it doesn't feel very natural having so much open space with nothing behind me. I do enjoy having my chair here in the corner. It's just very blank wall the entire way. So some kind of wall hung shelf would probably be a good idea. So yeah, there's a lot of new furniture we gotta get, but we don't necessarily know exactly what yet, and yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, I gotta stop the video here or else I'll continue rambling the rest of the night. So yeah, if you liked the video, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week for next week's episode. Bye!